Have you been wondering whether the Edmonton housing market is finally shifting in favor of buyers, or if sellers still have the upper hand? The latest April 2026 housing market statistics show something very interesting. We're seeing a significant increase in new listings, more housing inventory hitting the market, and a stronger seasonal lift in spring activity. At the same time, Edmonton house prices remain surprisingly resilient, and homes are still selling relatively quickly. So what does that mean if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in Edmonton this year? Let's break it all down in simple terms. Hello everyone, I'm Guido Kamanzi with Sterling Real Estate. Welcome back to my monthly Edmonton real estate market update. Every month I review the latest housing market statistics from the REALTORS Association of Edmonton and explain what the numbers actually mean for real people, not just real estate professionals. Today we're looking at the April 2026 market report, and I'll cover what happened in the Edmonton market overall, what sellers need to know, what buyers should be watching, opportunities for investors, and what current trends could mean moving into the summer market. Let's jump in. April was exactly what we would expect from a healthy spring market. New listings increased significantly compared to March, with more homeowners deciding this was a good time to put their properties on the market. Housing inventory also grew, giving buyers more choices than they've had in recent months. At the same time, residential sales activity also increased month over month, which tells us that buyers are still active and demand remains strong. One of the most important numbers in this housing market overview is the months of inventory. The Greater Edmonton Area has approximately 2.8 months of inventory. That's still considered a relatively balanced to sellers market. In other words, while buyers have more options today than they did earlier this year, there is still not enough housing supply to create strong downward pressure on prices. Prices continue to show stability. The average selling price across the Greater Edmonton Area moved up to roughly $479,000, while the median price reached about $450,000. Both the benchmark price and the average selling price showed modest gains compared to last month and year over year. What this tells me is that Edmonton remains one of the most affordable major markets in Canada while continuing to attract strong buyer interest. If you're thinking about selling, this is still a favorable environment. Buyers are active, homes are moving, and price trends remain stable. However, there is an important change happening. More listings are entering the market every week. That means sellers are beginning to face more competition than they did earlier in the year. So the strategy is changing slightly. A few months ago, almost any reasonably priced Edmonton house would attract immediate attention. Today, presentation, pricing, and marketing matter even more. The good news is that homes are still selling relatively quickly. Across the Greater Edmonton Area, residential properties are averaging about 35 days on market, with single-family homes moving in about 32 days. For sellers, that's still a healthy seller's market with strong listing activity. For Edmonton home buyers, there is actually some encouraging news in this report. The increase in active inventory means you're gaining more options. You're no longer competing for every single listing that comes onto the market. That doesn't mean you can wait forever, but it does mean buyers have a little more breathing room compared to the tightest periods of the market. Another interesting trend is that different property types are behaving differently based on current market dynamics. Single-family homes remain relatively strong and stable. Townhouses and other attached properties have also shown resilience. Meanwhile, some other segments, such as semi-detached homes, have experienced softer price movements. This creates opportunities for buyers who are flexible about property type and location. The key takeaway is this: you have more choices today than earlier this year, but good properties that are priced correctly are still attracting attention. For investors, Edmonton continues to stand out for affordability. Compared with many major Canadian cities, Edmonton still offers entry prices that are significantly lower while maintaining healthy demand and sales volume. The growing housing inventory is actually positive for investors because it creates more opportunities to compare properties and negotiate strategically. Condo apartments and apartment condominiums remain one of the more affordable entry points into the market, while single-family homes continue to demonstrate long-term stability and positive price growth. Investors should pay close attention to neighborhoods where inventory levels are increasing, because those areas may offer stronger negotiating opportunities in the coming months. Looking ahead, the biggest trend I'm watching is the balance between new listings and buyer demand. Spring inventory is growing, which is normal for this time of year, with the seasonal lift in supply growth. The question is whether buyer activity keeps pace. So far, the answer appears to be yes. Residential sales increased month over month, inventory levels remain relatively tight, and Edmonton house prices continue to hold steady. If these price trends continue, we could see a market that becomes more balanced through the summer, offering buyers more selection while still supporting stable home values. Of course, every neighborhood and property type behaves differently, which is why local expertise matters more than broad market headlines. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in Edmonton this year and you'd like advice specific to your situation, I'd be happy to help. Feel free to reach out directly and let's discuss your goals. Also, if you found this market update helpful, hit the like button, subscribe for monthly Edmonton market updates, and leave your questions in the comments below. I'm always happy to answer questions and create videos on topics that matter most to Edmonton homeowners and buyers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next market update.